Now it's on.
Is it on?
Mm-hmm.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, it's live now.
We're live.
What's that noise?
It's Lou.
Lou. See, we're waiting for the Lou to come up, so we're playing with this live mode. I seen these other guys from Poland doing this live mode, so I thought that I would try it too, because you know, people can ask questions on the live thing, right? Group chat or something. We didn't advertise for this deal. We just hit the button.
Yeah, we are just testing things out. We have our live webinar coming up, so we're seeing how we're gonna run it.
Yeah. We'll have to see what happens. Holy Moses, there's like humans on here. Look at that.
Oh wow, look at that. Hi guys.
Howdy. Hey, they must have just been sitting down for supper or something.
That's it.
Yeah, you have to bear with us. This is the first time we've gotten into this mode here without assistance from computer people.
Yeah.
Well, she's a computer person, but
Not
I
used to-
basically was getting very angry.
Not used to getting live. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Yep. So Lou's going to come down and we're going to record one of them podcasts. You guys been hearing them podcasts or what? Oh, I can't hear them. They type it in there or what?
They type it in the chat if they want.
Yeah, so we got this podcast show. You guys should check it out. It's hilarious. And a lot of people, like who I thought would know, because I'm not the computer guy, so I understand how they're confused. We do podcast excerpts, like on the YouTube channel, where you can see the actual podcast deal on the TV thing, the YouTube computer part, right? But the actual podcast is a show that's on the full length. It's like 3.5, 4 hours of radical stuff. We get into questions and answers. It's like a lot of fun. So if you guys want to check that deal out, you got to go to the rexreviews.org.
Yes, rexreviews.org has all of the full-length episodes as well as our excerpts. It's linked to our SoundCloud, so you can go on there as well. If you're podcast people and you like the apps, then you can actually get us on pretty much any one of the podcast apps. You can download and then just like our channel and get us off of any application that you're running.
Yeah, so if you go on that rexreviews.org / one of these deals podcast,
yes,
you'll find the full-length podcast. We got like nuclear weapons reviews. We got flying saucer stuff. We got radical rants. Like we shred the education system. It's just glorious. I know you guys like it, probably. We do Bible study stuff on there. I know a lot of the viewers from the early days are watching the Bible study stuff, so you can watch Rex's rock and roll Bible study if you dig that thing, So it's just a format that's cool because it's more laid back and we get to be more thorough. It's like a lot of work to produce a stupid little video, but
yeah,
unless you're doing live video, apparently.
It's actually pretty crazy how much goes into them. We actually got asked the other day, what goes on between episodes, and it's so funny because we all have, jobs and
spilling water on my gun.
But we spend a lot of time working on the podcast. It's a lot of hours and stuff to talk about.
Sorry.
So a lot goes on.
So can they talk on here, or what's the deal? Can you guys talk on there? I don't see it.
They should be able to talk. Let's
I don't see
we
nothing.
Can say something to them.
Oh, look. Hey, yeah, if you guys got any questions, ask Rex live. Type in that thing. I think they don't even have to sign up for nothing.
No, there's like
or maybe they got to be signed into their account.
Yeah, there's like a group chat. They should be able to talk to us.
Yeah, so if you guys got any questions about any kind of long-range stuff, Bible stuff, UFOs, CIA type stuff with her or whatever, just type them in that window there and we'll answer you, probably, or not, or she'll evade the question.
I like how I'm just like, yeah. What we can do is we do have some questions.
You killed it!
In our email. I didn't kill it. It's right here.
Oh. Okay, you go ahead.
That we could pull up quick. We don't want to sign out though. Let's go.
That'd be hilarious if you turned it off and they're all like building up for the awesome part. Are you sure they can type on there? Isn't it enabled?
It's enabled.
Is it live? Yeah. Oh yeah, there's humans on there.
There's 152 people there. Let's see. Okay. Let's go like this. Do you have anything besides?
What are you looking for? Emails?
Nope.
Did we print any of that stuff?
We did.
This is like a total beta run, guys. Like, I'm sorry because we didn't know if we'd even when we hit record, we didn't know it would turn on for sure. So we're like not prepared.
Oh, this is raw though. You guys are.
Yeah, this is totally raw. history type
behind
stuff.
the scenes. All right.
So we're going to look up some questions here for you guys, and then we'll answer some of these like on your emails. A lot of people had good email type questions that I saw from before. So, oh, for those of you who are curious, we got the old ACOG here. This thing's probably hot. This is the TA31. Good optic. This is our next review coming up. This is what I run on my Panic rifle. This is just the Colt M4. Seen it around a bunch, but if you just like don't want to screw around with scopes or whatever, this is a good choice to go with. Is the Trijicon. Obviously, it's been seen a lot of service and all that, but I like the TA31s, and this one's got the ACSS reticle. I got a green reticle in here, but I'm going to do like a real thorough review on Trijicon. I'm going to explain how they work, what actually makes them inherently kind of tough, how they I actually was reading through all the patent information the other day. I dug it up on the Google Scholar search. Use my research skills there, see, so I can get you the full story on the Trijicons. So that'll be pretty cool. You're finding some cool. Oh, she's still trying to hack the mainframe. For those of you who's curious what kind of battle ammo Rex runs here, I don't know if you can see this or if it's out of focus. Just M855, good stuff. That almost illegal ammo that was almost illegal a lot of times. Is that thing not going?
Yeah, did we change it?
No. Maybe it's because you logged in that other deal, huh? Don't worry about it. They'll start asking questions in a minute. Probably.
Maybe.
Hey guys, it's Rex. Is that thing working? The group chat?
It should be.
I don't see nothing.
Why is
Do you have to make it bigger? Is it too small?
Maybe.
No, I'm making out the picture's too big. It's like staring into the abyss mirror. What was that? Oh! Sorry guys, bear with us.
We're just trying some new stuff here. Okay, so we don't need that. We're on live.
I'm getting bored.
Why is this chat not working? That's what I'm wondering. I don't think they got any of our messages.
I don't know. Can you guys type on there? Yes? No? I'm thinking that there's typing stuff, but I ain't seeing it.
What if it's on this screen?
Holy crap! What's that? Oh no, that's the other video.
Oh, let's go over here.
Kill that one.
This one?
Oh no, yeah.
What about this?
You guys have the patience of saints, I swear. Oh, look at that! Holy!
Is that us?
Yeah, wait. Oh no.
Oh, that's old.
Is there a delay?
We're streaming live.
Is there a delay? Is that what's happening?
No, this is us now currently recording, and then this is if people go online now. That's what they see.
So what's this thing?
Oh look! Oh
yeah, that's the thing.
Hi!
Hey. Wait. What the hell's this part?
I don't know, but we got him.
Hey guys,
okay.
want to hear a story? I hadn't got a computer my whole life till 2009. Okay, so it's when I decided to be one of them educated guys, and I said, okay, I'm coming out of the woods. I'm going to go into the city and go to the school. Holy Moses! There they are. Hey, I see your things now. Okay, you're here. Okay.
All right, here we go.
What do we got? John Frederick and Sean and Gunslinger. I think I know that guy. John K. Lou Flores. Cool evening.
Hey.
How you guys doing? Yeah. What's up, Rex? Not too much. Obviously trying to figure out stupid computer. Man, I hate computers so bad. You know, it's amazing that I'm even on this computer. I mean, you should see me. I'm going to start this new business about Hillary Clinton mode on the computer, the claw hammer, and just smash the hell out of computers. That's kind of what I want to get into in the near future. Oh, okay. So if you see a question type deal in there, oh yeah, they're chilling. 25-06 for long range? Yeah, within that's a good question. So like one of the rifles I grew up with was a 25-06. It was a Springfield 03 Springfield, and it was a sporterized rifle made by one of my uncles. Was kind of a makeshift gunsmith kind of guy, and I inherited it kind of halfway. Bought it from one of his grandkids and actually sold it back to him. Now he's one of the participants in the Rex Reviews podcast, but it was a custom 25-06. And that's for those of you who aren't familiar. So Wildcat originally, it kind of became a mainstream cartridge, but it's a 30-06 neck down to 257 caliber. So it's a nice flat shooting round. It's a great cartridge for like deer hunting. I liked it too because it wasn't too big. You could lay down and shoot varmints all day. And when I was like a kid in high school and stuff, you know, you could lay down and shoot a whole town of prairie dogs. You could just blast through all of them, you know, a couple hundred prairie dogs or whatever. You could shoot off 100 rounds like nothing out of a 25-06. So I like them low recoil. For long range, it would probably be okay. Mind you, most of the bullets configured in a 25-06 are a little bit shorter proportionally, and so your ballistic coefficient is not quite there for extreme long range shooting. But I mean, you can shoot 500, 600, 700 yards, or I'm not sure what the max effective range is in terms of max supersonic range. You could look it up, but typically I use like 117 grain bullets, 100 grain bullets for deer. I think it's a great medium range caliber because it's very flat from like 0 to 400. It's just a nice flat shooting round. Beyond that, the BC, the lack of the ballistic coefficient efficiency kind of causes it to maybe not perform as good for like extreme long range applications if you do the math. But that's my opinion on 25-06. You see another one in there someplace?
That was a good one. Where did you first become interested in long range shooting?
You know, that's an interesting question. I never really became interested in it because I was kind of born into it. My old man was like alpha male hunter guy and firearms aficionado. So for me, I was like, I remember when I was 4, the first memories I have about firearms is I think I was 4. And back in them days, nobody had like gun safes or even gun cabinets. You just throw them all in the closet or whatever. And I was horsing around and I knocked all the rifles out of there. And I think I was wanting to play with them or something, kind of dangerous, you know. And so Pa thought, you know, well, I better take the kids down to the range and let them see what these things are about because they're loud and noisy and scary and, you know, just a weapons familiarization so that us kids would have more respect for these things rather than thinking they're a toy. We'd understand, holy smokes, that thing's serious business. So he took us out to the local range, and I remember shooting a Ruger M77 6mm Remington. It's like a little bit, it's very close to a 243. And I remember shooting at the bowling pins when I was 4, and he was sitting behind me holding me, you know. And so that was 100 yards, but long range shooting, I mean, where I grew up too, kind of open country in a lot of ways. That was how you had to take deer or bunny rabbits or anything, prairie dogs. I mean, a lot of times your minimum shooting distance was 200, 300 yards getting started. And so we had to learn the fundamentals of precision rifle shooting, you know, at an early age if you wanted to even engage in plinking, you know, just because everything was farther away out in open country. And I suppose, man, I mean, we used to shoot gopher towns all the time when we were like kids, and we'd be shooting 400, 500, 600 yards sometimes, and then gopher towns just as kids with centerfire rifles. So kind of grew up with it, I guess. And when we got into the extreme range shooting, one of my cousins was like, he's one of the best shots I know to this day. He smokes my butt, but he got me into the dialing it in when I was a kid, you know, like, oh man, you can actually dial it in to compensate rather than Kentucky windage. And that opened up that whole world. And then later in life, that proficiency got refined a lot more as I met more people and did more other things too. So, yep, you betcha. Kind of grew up in the long range deal. So to me, it's almost like second nature. I don't even really think about it that much because up here at the open country type deal.
Can you comment on plastic tips melting on bullets or when to trim the necks on the cases for reloading?
Well, okay, so what Hornady comes out with the AMAX bullet a while ago, and the AMAX bullet is a long-range profile bullet. I wish I had my ammo all sitting here. I got, you know, but on the tip of the bullet, they would employ like looks like what most people would call a ballistic tip. It's a plastic tip. So really what you have is if you distribute the weight of the bullet more towards the center and the rear, it's more easy to stable dynamically because if you get a inconcentricity towards the front of the bullet, a lot of times it really throws it and gives it a crazy yaw, is what they found out over time. So a lot of your match grade bullets that are intended to be real accurate at long ranges are going to fly better with a less weight distribution in the front. Hence why a lot of your match king bullets, your match bullets are configured with hollow point configurations. What they figured with the hollow point is, although it is pretty aerodynamically efficient if you figure out the flow dynamics and the trim factor and all that of how the air goes around that hollow point. They figured that actually a sharp tip on there does a little better, but they wanted to keep the weight down, so they put a polymer tip on the front of the bullets. That was the idea for, for long-range shooting bullets. You get a higher ballistic coefficient, more aerodynamic, right? So what they discovered after some research was that the AMAX bullets on Hornadies, and pretty much all your bullets, to be honest, of that design, that are flying like, I mean, you got a bullet going 3,000 feet a second, you're almost going Mach 3, Mach 2.5, Mach 3, 3 times the speed of sound. That's like faster than an F-15 fighter jet. And that produces like a tremendous amount of heat on the front, like over 800 degrees. And what they were finding is that there's deformation of the tips of the bullets occurring at, and it only takes a second or two, but especially it wouldn't become a factor until medium ranges. So when you're shooting long range is when they start to notice this was actually affecting the ballistic coefficient downrange, is it would kind of degrade and decompose your ballistic coefficient. And so they kind of redid some of the polymer. Now Hornady's got a new, they discontinued that AMAX as far as I can tell. And it's a shame because I love the AMAX, and the 6mm are incredible bullets, man. They fly awesome. And I think even a lot of records are set with those things. And even myself, some of the best shooting I've ever done in my life, that was like, I wish you would have caught it on tape. You know what I mean? Like 1,100 yards with the 243, just like this, like stuff no one would believe. If there's no wind, then bullets fly incredibly, stupidly well. And but they reconfigured them so they don't melt. And that's one of these places where, like Elco bullets, I think I did a video on some proprietary extreme long range bullet designs. You can check out those reviews. But Elco kind of reintroduced some of the aluminum tip designs and steel tip design bullets. And if you look at the original, I think, design of the AMAX was to have a metal tip. And if you look at the 50 caliber AMAX bullets, they actually still do employ an aluminum tip on those. So yeah, that's a story on the melting tips on the bullets. They actually do deform. And I wouldn't say they melt completely off, but they become very squishy and plastic, and they kind of, they flow back. And the flight time on a bullet like that's only 2 or 3 seconds if you're shooting, 1,000 yards or a little more. But that's enough time to cause a significant noticeable effect.
So, Primary Arms said, "Are you related to Kudus?" What is that?
Dimitri. Oh, that little guy. I'll tell you what, Kudus. Oh, I love you, Dimitri. You got to watch out. Rob is going to shoot you in the knees one of these days.
How about...
Keep bringing up the ancient past like that.
What's your thoughts on ELD or ELDX?
Oh, now you're getting technical. Guys, I'm so completely out of touch on all the new bullet choices. For a guy that's like the long range guy, like I'm so far in the past because I'm very conservative in believe it or not, in my equipment choices. If I find a bullet that works for what I'm doing, I stick with it forever, because it takes a lot of investment to develop tables and charts and stuff like this for different calibers and stuff. So like my peripheral information on all the various different bullets, I don't want to lead you astray on that. I do think that those are actually pretty good bullets. A lot of these new premium bullets out, I haven't had a lot of trigger time on. I know from research and from what I've collected from other people, but I don't want to lead you astray. And hopefully you guys can understand that the wise man, pretending like I'm the wise guy over here, is going to admit when you don't know. And I honestly don't know. I haven't got enough. I haven't shot game with them, for example. I think that those are they're supposedly good flyers, though.
Zero Dark had a good question with quick answer. Go. What scope would you buy under $1,000? Out to 1,000 yards.
Okay, yeah, man. IOR Valdata fixed power optics are incredible for under 1,000. You can get into, like, they got good European glass on those, and they make like a fixed 10. They make some in the mil configurations now. So if you guys aren't familiar with them, I was first introduced to them by some guys I worked with in the security profession back in the day. And one of the old guys, one of the guys with the big antlers and the gray hairs and stuff, he's been around. He's like cool guy. He introduced me to Valdata back then, IOR. And he says that for the money, and this is back in 15 years ago or whenever the heck it was, 10 years ago, something like that. He says that you can get into like Zeiss quality optics for like a quarter of the price back then, because it was Romanian. No one really knew what it was, and it was all pretty affordable. I think it's just because the price of labor in Germany is a lot higher than in East Europe. I mean, for those of you who haven't been to Europe, like if you cross east of Austria, like into Slovakia, Poland, Romania, them countries, like the value of the dollar goes way off the table in terms of like you can get a lot more for your money in those countries if you want to stay there in a hotel, if you want to drink a beer. I mean, you can go down to like Hypernova in Slovakia and buy like, I don't drink beer anymore. I actually quit since the inauguration because I don't need it. Say she's rooting for me, but yeah, I don't need it. Hillary Clinton almost killed me, but you could buy a big beer for like $1. You know what I mean? Or like a good meal in East Europe for cheap. So IOR Veldata, I'm so long-winded. I'm getting to the point eventually. IOR Veldata is a great company. Just being in Romania, you can get a heck of a lot of value for way less money. And now they're getting into tier 1 grade optics, which is like high quality stuff. And it's still a very good value. I think that the market has caught on to the fact that they're like a serious contender. So if you're looking for stuff that's European quality glass that's not like European priced, that's a decent way to go. And honestly, it's made in Bucharest, I believe, Romania. And I think that one of Schmidt and Bender's other plants is in that same town too. Because Schmidt and Bender's you buy here in the States are made in Germany. And the ones you get in a lot of places in Europe, especially the Eastern European countries, if you buy a PM2 over there, it's like a different optic. And they're made in Romania just because of, I think, cost factors. But yeah, that's a great one to go for under $1,000. Or, you know, I like the US Optics ST10s. They're right around $1,000, maybe a little less if you get them configured. You know, that's my two favorites that pop into my mind for a quick answer. Yeah, quick answer, like 12 minutes of ranting. What do we got here?
Do I shoot? I actually do not shoot. I know about the guy.
She's allergic.
I listen. I like, you know, hearing about it. I'm more of a nice girl, to be honest.
Yeah, she's playing with the kookery over here.
I like.
She grabs this and is I'm like thinking, oh, she's gonna cut my face off now.
More of a nice
like
person.
That.
But guns are cool. I mean, it's a good time. I love the show.
You know, this scared the British right out of Nepal, right here. Yeah. And I like the British. I think their empire is awesome. I really like England, but yeah, I wouldn't want a bunch of them guys running after me. Those two, they're tough up in them hills, I'll tell you what. What do we got? What?
They're just saying hi.
Oh, hi. Yeah.
Bolt action.
I agree. I like bolt actions. Yep. Action. And I like semi-autos too, like these things. See? I was showing you this earlier. Did that even get recorded? Yeah. Well, that's before we knew that anyone was on there.
That's before we could see the comments.
I was like, I need to grab a weapon, so I just grabbed something.
Athlon Optics. Have you shot any?
Athlon. I've been waiting to get a hold of one of them things. I've heard from a couple dudes that I know, like some serious dudes who've had some trigger time in real life. And I mean, these guys are hard on their stuff. And one of the guys I know in particular, he has a TK Custom paint jobs or something like that. He does like Duracoating or Cerakoting or something. Real cool guy, a hardcore old vet dude. Well, old, like maybe a couple of years older than me or my age. Maybe he's younger than me. I don't know. But what was I talking about?
Athlon?
Oh, Athlon. Yeah, that's why she's here. She's the webmaster. She keeps me.
That's what I do.
Yeah. So Athlon, yeah, they're supposedly like a pretty good outfit. And from what I've seen, they're configured smart. They got first focal plane mill configurations. And, you know, China is really catching up, guys, as much as I hate to like Chinese scopes. But I don't know if I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Chinese mindset when it comes to technology. They don't really go for that whole copyright scenario. They kind of just think that if it's information that's available, it's fair game. And then they want to duplicate it. And it's just a whole different school of thought. I ain't for it, ain't against it, that's fine, whatever. But so they've duplicated a lot of our lens polishing technology. They've gotten a hold of enough of our optics over time and reverse engineered them. And they got some really good quality stuff now. It's not going to be as good quality in general as some of your Japanese optics. But I mean, Chinese scopes back in the day had a reputation for being kind of cheap. And a lot of them still are, but if you're looking at some of the higher dollar stuff, and even the stuff in the mid-price ranges like Athlon, I think is pretty affordable, a couple $100. They're actually coming a long ways. You can pick up a Simmons scope now, and they're like kicking the butts of Leupold scopes from 30 years ago. You know what I mean? So like China's come a long ways and is surpassing where we used to be even. And maybe Donald will get them squared away, and we'll start building scopes again for real. What else we got?
Lots of questions. Did you want to answer? Somebody asked if you've ever shot somebody.
Next question.
Next question. Just about $60 Chinese scope. Shot a sub MOA at 300 yards.
Nice.
Have you shot the new Lithgow from Australia?
No, I haven't. What is that? Lithgow, I think they used to make FALs and stuff, or the L1s, the British pattern rifle. But yeah, they're a company that's pretty well respected over in Australia. And I got my good buddy, he's manager. He works at one of the big stores in Melbourne there. And you've seen him on some of the videos. He was on the Australia video, what the gun regulations are in Australia. It's a good video. You guys should check that out. A lot of folks are curious how that's going over there. There was a pretty severe gun ban, and they convinced a lot of people to turn in all their stuff. And he goes through the history of how that happened and what the current gun laws are in Australia. Pretty authoritarian, but they got a different mindset over there too. They're still under the crown and stuff. So I respect different countries for, being loyal to their different things. So I don't have a problem with, I like Aussies. I think they're pretty cool, tough guys. They got a cool culture.
Do you own a cigar box guitar?
No, I don't, but that's pretty cool. I've seen some pretty interesting things. I'll have to show you guys some pictures I've seen before.
Does your old man still like pumpkin seeds?
Pumpkin seeds? Well, I think I knew Fritz. Yeah. Yes, he's got a stash of cigarettes and pumpkin seeds right here next to the chair for watching the old cowboy movies. He sits in there and just watches his old, what the heck is that movie? Lonesome Dove, and eats pumpkin seeds and drinks Coca-Cola and smokes like non-filter GPC cigarettes, 3 packs a day. It's amazing dudes like that are still alive. How do you survive that? I'm like Mr. Health guy, and then I get cancer a couple years ago. What's up with that deal? And then I gain like 400 pounds and like can't even move or pick dandelions out of my yard.
That's not true.
No, that's fine.
Tell us about your guitar playing.
My guitar playing? Sure, yeah. You guys seen the review on the Johnson, didn't you? That was me when I ate ice cream cones. And when the wife was busy doing other stuff upstairs, she was, I don't know, she was, taking care of the bills probably. And I was like, man, I need to do something. It was going nuts because I had all this energy in the ice cream cone. But so, yeah, I grabbed the Johnson guitar, real cheap little guitar, and I jammed out a bit. I know you guys dig that. Some of you do. But, yeah, I grew up in, high school. That's what I did for a job in high school to get my money. I grew up in a musician's family, and so playing guitar was how I got my gun money.
So, what do you think about UFOs, aliens, and underground base conspiracy?
Oh, man, you guys got to listen to the podcast show for that. That's a long answer. Well, we're actually going to upload that pretty soon. It's already on the podcast, rexreviews.org. There's the one, The Secret of the Greys Revealed. For those of you who are not subscribed to the letter, you have to check it out.
Seriously, and the forum has a big thing on it. Everybody's commenting in all their different opinions. That's where you should go because you'll hear it from all ends. It's really great.
An Army intelligence officer once asked me if I was trolling people with my UFO videos. Kind of. I think it's fun. I like it. Yeah. I like that stuff. I don't know. I mean, I'm a scientist and I'm a skeptic big time, but I'm also open-minded at the same time. I think that's what a good scientist should be, is open-minded to any possibility, but also skeptical of everything they tell you. So I'll listen to any crazy story. Like people were telling me about Antarctica bases where the Nazis have tunnels. And I mean, it's like, what do they eat down there? So I asked the questions. I don't know. Maybe. I kind of don't think so, but yeah, check out the podcast. The Secret of the Greys Revealed is like an incredible explanation of probably what's really going on with the whole space alien phenomenon. So yeah, Rex Reviews gets wild, man. We get out there and we have a lot of fun. We make fun of each other and stuff. So it's a good time.
Would you put a red dot on a shotgun?
No, I don't think I would need to. I mean, point shooting a shotgun's pretty effective. I think just, maybe a lot of people are into this. If you're using slugs, maybe, I'm not like a shotgun guy, really. That's not my field of expertise. But from what I've employed, like I typically use #1 buck. That's what's best for, well, like if you talk to serious, large, dangerous game hunters who hunt the big five in Africa, when they're going after a wounded leopard or a wounded lion, they like to employ #1 buckshot. You get the most bang for your buck on thin-skinned, extremely dangerous animals. And a bad guy with a gun in your house is a thin-skinned, extremely dangerous animal. So #1 buckshot throws a lot of lead out there, but you still got a lot of good penetration. when employing buckshot, you don't really need to aim. So, I mean, you point shoot, you know what I mean? And so that's all intuitive shooting. That's a whole nother philosophy. You got to almost be a scientist for long range precision shooting. You got to really calculate everything out. And you can get away with the samurai mindset too, of just kind of intuitive shooting, like when you're shooting a bow and arrow without sights. That's how you do a lot of your instinctive pistol shooting. You know, when we used to train on pistols back in the day, you just run around with flash sight picture and you just point shoot. You know what I mean? You ain't using the sights at all. You just kind of see the back of the handgun and you see the target and you just boom, 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 and you take 2 or 3 shots and you get awesome if you shoot enough doing that. I mean, like we used to run around and you can shoot locks off of doors or whatever. I mean, people might be skeptical on that. You can hit small targets like that is what I'm saying, just instinctive shooting. So with the shotgun, if you're shooting at slugs, a lot of guys out east, I understand, have woods and they have heavy firearms restrictions for rifles and stuff, so they can't use rifles.
They told me to stomp on your foot when you get long.
Yeah, no. The shotgun deal, I don't see any need for it, but with slugs, yes.
If you are a Christian, do you believe in aliens?
I don't see a problem with the aliens deal, possibly. I don't think that the two are mutually exclusive. I don't see a problem with that. I mean, if God wanted to make all of us, he could make an alien too. I don't see how those things go, are in battle with each other too much. God didn't talk about duck-bill platypuses in Australia. That doesn't mean they don't exist. That just wasn't the topic of the book he gave us for the basic instructions before leaving Earth. So yeah, there's totally lots of room in the universe for an alien, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see one day.
Do you know any good Air Force jokes?
Air Force jokes? I don't want to be mean to the Chair Force. I love those guys. Nothing like a Chair Force guy when you need to call in a JDAM or something, right?
Born to be Free is real serious about cleaning your primer pocket when reloading. Do you do that?
Primer pocket? What now?
Yeah. Do you clean
your
primer pocket?
On rifle, well, like pistol shells, it don't matter so much, but like one of the areas in reloading and precision reloading, especially, that a lot of people neglect, that is probably one of the most important areas to pay attention to, is primer pocket consistency. You definitely want it to be clean. You want to make sure your flash hole is not obstructed. You also want to make sure your flash hole is pretty uniform. So you want to inspect that when you're looking at your rifle cases. That is something I will uniform on my precision rifles, my primer pockets, and the flash holes. And they have little tools, handheld tools. You can run them in there and clean them out. It's very important. Also, a deal is, like, a lot of guys run these progressive presses, and honestly, I like to run single stage when reloading for precision rifle ammo, because I like to feel by hand everything I'm doing. It's slow, but you can feel. And if you feel a different amount of tension as you run into primer, on the hand devices are better. You can run them in with the big leverage on on the press, and I don't like doing it that way because there's too much leverage. You can't feel it. So when I run primers on reloading, I like to use the little handheld RCBS reloaders, or the Lee. The Lee is like too small for 338 Lapua Magnum though, so I had to like Dremel that sucker to get it to work. So I got upgraded the RCBS. If you plan on reloading 338 Lapua, that big ass case on the bottom is so fat, that's one of them deals the guy should do. But yeah. But you want to be able to feel it in there, and if you got one, you'll get a feel of it, and they should all be about the same. And if one's like really loose, set that cartridge off to the side. That's going to be garbage. That's one you use to warm up your barrel or whatever, or even if you want to shoot her. If you got one that goes in real tight, that will throw your shot off tremendously. Guys can screw around. You can even like deform. You can take the cartridge, if you got stop points, and smear the lead all over. You can deform the fronts of the bullets, and it doesn't have near as much of effect as screwing with the primer pocket or something. The primer is very important.
So there was a couple of questions in there. People are wondering how long we're going to be streaming.
I don't know, until Lou gets here so we can record our podcast.
Yeah, we're hoping Lou's showing up. He's a turtle.
Yeah, she sent him the text message deal on these texts. So you can put the little pictures in there. So she put the turtle on there.
I bet I could show you.
Is it going to show the phone number on there?
No, just her name.
You'll have like a million people calling you.
Yeah, no. Don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so I sent him this turtle. I don't know if you can see it. And asked him what he was doing.
Yeah, what are you doing, turtle man?
And then gave him an angry face because he's taking forever.
Do a Neil Brass. That's a very good question. I have actually not done it yet. I did when I was a kid, back when I used to shoot a lot of prairie dog towns because you go through brass real quick. But we did it in a not so scientific way back then. I actually got a new brass annealing machine I want to review and show you guys. And I've been sitting on it for 2 years. I feel like a horrible person. I just haven't re-annealed it. That's just reconditioning the brass so it doesn't become brittle. And on large bottleneck rifle cases, you got to hit it with a torch for a certain amount of time and then let it cool down slowly, and it normalizes the metal, kind of like normalizing steel except in brass. Very important to do on rifle shells if you want them to last a little longer on the necks. PTR 91 rifle, oh, I love those. Those are awesome. Out of all them battle rifles, FAL is one of my favorites, but the HK 91 series, the G3s, are very good. They're more simple. They're stamped out of sheet metal. They got fluted chambers. They're horrible on brass. They'll eat brass, mind you. PTR 91, for those of you who don't know, is kind of a nicer American remake, I think, of a HK 91 style rifle, the G3s. And they shoot good. They're just a real good reproduction. They're very good quality. They usually shoot straight. They're hard to mount optics onto, so plan on using open sights. And if you can get an optic on there, they like to slam the crap out of them. But PTRs are good. I think they're an awesome battle rifle. I think they're best configured just with open sights, and don't plan on keeping your brass because a fluted chamber cuts the brass, and they extract so hard sometimes that, it'll tear up your rims horrible. And I don't think they're adjustable as much as like an FAL is.
Just had a couple people that said hi.
Primary arm still on there being a turkey?
A couple people are turkey.
I love that guy.
I would like your opinion on PMAC rifle, built here. Honest opinion.
PMAC?
Yeah.
PMAC Precision? Yeah, that guy has his ducks in a row, honestly, and we got a surprise announcement we're going to record at this podcast here. It'll come out maybe in a week or two. We're not sure, but we got something rolling for you guys, something I've been hesitating to do for years because I'm a big chicken, but we'll do it.
It's going to be awesome!
We're going to make ourselves available for maybe some of you guys who want to do some of this in-person type training stuff. That's the clue. You just heard it live. Okay.
The clue. That's all you get.
But he's going to be working with me on some of those projects. I respect that guy a lot in his gunsmithing abilities. He does a good job. He pays a lot. He's obsessive with his chambers and how he cuts them. Like, he'll spend a lot of time just like, a lot of gunsmiths will just knock out a chamber. It's not that hard to do, really. You just cut the chamber. You put it in the lathe and you get everything kind of centered up and you cut the chamber, put some oil on there. But Paul McCoy with PMAC Precision does an incredible job, and he knows all the secrets. And we'll get into that. You can check out some of the reviews on the rifle build for the 7mm-300 Winchester Magnum preliminary review or whatever it was.
Somebody asked about how to makeshift a zero stop for scopes without.
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so scopes without zero stops. A zero stop is actually a feature that I've learned to really kind of rely on. If you're in the dark or in crappy conditions or just any conditions, it's nice to have a zero stop. That means that so you're going to zero your rifle at 100 yards, your turret is going to be on 0, right? And then you got to crank it up, 27 minutes for 1,000 yards with a 300 mag or whatever, right? Boom, you shoot. And then you got to come back down 1 or 2 revolutions sometimes to find 0 again. Well, if you're not paying attention or if you're excited or something, you're going to come back down and like forget where 0 is. And I've seen very experienced like shooters, like one of the Navy and Army competition guys that I used to hang out with, who taught me a lot of long range stuff. He was actually having a hard time with that, coming back down and finding 0. And you can miss by like 15 minutes or however many revolution if you're off by a revolution. So making your own 0 stop is important. What I do in the Super Sniper scopes, because they're the cheaper scopes that a guy can get that's half decent in reliable tracking, I'll take a Sharpie with a silver Sharpie that's not been used too bad, and I'll go in there, and once I get it back 0, they have the little hash marks on the turrets, and I'll put a little dot so that I can see where the 0 is. And then when I come back down, I just get it on that dot. Guys have done a lot of crazy stuff. You can put washers under there or whatever, and you can get it spaced up, but it's a little tricky to get it right. The best way to do it, honestly, guys, is to buy a scope with a 0 stop mechanism. That's a very, very good feature to have, and I wish all scopes had those that use indexing on the turrets.
What's your favorite thing to eat?
Eat ice cream? No.
Ice cream? That's probably my favorite. I love froyo. You guys eat froyo?
You know, lately, actually, I don't know, man. Like, eating. I like curry. Like a good, like Central Asian curry is really good, with lots of cumin and what do they put in there?
Gosh,
Yeah, they got a
Or
lot of
even, like,
spicy. I like that. I like stir fries. I like
pretty much anything Thai is good.
when I was in shape, I was on like a Mediterranean diet and I only ate steak and vegetables, and I was like 181 pounds. Now I'm like way more, and I'm eating normal food like normal people. I don't think that some of us Europeans were invented for that diet. I think that I need to get back on that Mediterranean diet.
It's, yeah, Mediterranean diet's
Yeah.
the way to go.
Apparently, I like to eat everything, as you can see here.
Ever use Falcon Menace M18?
The Falcon Menace, not the M18. I'm vaguely familiar with those. Man, that's an old question because it's been a long time since I've seen one of those in action. Here's the story on scopes, guys. So, like, back in the day when I did the original Sniper 101 scope reviews, okay, there was a lot more limited choices. And since those reviews came out, when we did a lot of the reviews explaining configurations for long-range precision shooting that would be advantageous, the market like really filled in those gaps. I don't know if we had an effect on the market pressure or what, but I remember back in the day when I was in the market for a tier 1 scope, because I was using that stuff so much, I wanted to have something decent. I was shopping around for something better than what I had, and I wanted mil configuration, first focal plane. That's basically what I wanted, and I wanted it in a tier 1 scope if I could find it. And I had like 3 choices, okay? Leupold didn't make them, the Mark IVs. Oh, no. And I called Leupold too. And I said, hey guys, you got anything configured in first focal plane? You know? Oh, no one uses that stuff. What are you, crazy? There's no market for it. We're not making that stupid. I'm like, well, no, actually, I think that they would have a good market. And they argued with me, man. And this is back, I would have spent a lot of money with those guys outfitting, for long range shooting. But there's Schmidt and Bender. Schmidt and Bender was the one company I could find. US Optics also had them, and I wanted a zero stop as well. And I wanted the turrets and the side parallax and the proper configuration. And between those and US Optics, I think IWAR Val Data, I called Val too, and he said he had made some or had some on order at one time, but there wasn't a market in the United States, so they discontinued those. And so me and Val had a good laugh about that. Like, yeah, because he's from Romania and he understands the European mindset on having all your units matching, more of a metric setup, which is better if you're going to be using the turrets and the reticle in conjunction with each other. Holding your hold off in the wind with mils, and then you might correct something. You don't want to mix units. It's crazy. So yeah. So back in those days, I had like 3 choices, and Leupold wouldn't do it. Nobody else did it. And so it wasn't until much later, like maybe 3 years after we did the comprehensive, obnoxious videos on like, if you can find mil configuration first focal plane, that's the cat's meow. It's going to make your job a lot easier, a lot less converting on the fly when you're pooping your pants, right? So now the market's all over the place. So back then too, when I did the reviews, Falcon was one of the cheaper outfits that produced the first focal plane optics. So they were ahead of the curve a lot more than some of these other companies. So I liked them because their general configuration. I think that they're in your middle of the road, tier 3 sporting level, tactical style scope that's good for competition and stuff like that.
Question came up. One sec, I was looking at it a couple times. Oh, no, not that one. Where'd it go? It was by this guy. He was wondering how you find long range areas to shoot in. I'm trying to find it.
Very carefully. If out west, it's a lot easier because there's a lot more open country. I don't know, out east, that's going to be tricky. You got a lot of population density. You just got to move to a state with less people and then find some open range country where you can see what the heck you're shooting at. You want a good backstop. You don't want any kind of defilé where people can be hiding behind a hill and you don't know about it. That can get a little, even though it might not be technically dangerous, if you can see where you're shooting and you're half decent at what you're doing, you don't want to be zinging bullets past people if you can help it. That makes them nervous, So move out west, pick a state with the least amount of people.
A lot lot of traveling, and a lot of farmers will let you shoot on
Yeah,
their
yeah.
land.
Talk to ranchers. Look for on your maps where there's most of your national forest land, your national what do you call it, grasslands type stuff is open for shooting in most areas, if I'm not mistaken. You can do it that way. I know a lot of people who own big pieces of land and stuff, so that's a good way to go too.
7mm or 300 Rem Mag?
Good question. 300 Remington Magnum. In military circles is going to be logistically superior because that's a deployed round by snipers. They use it in the M24, and I believe the M40 is also configured to be switched over to that as well. And then the Navy's been using it, the Army's been using it primarily, and they can switch out like when they got an open terrain shooting. And we talked a little bit with Rob from AK Operators Union about DMR versus traditional sniper applications. And we had a discussion on it. It's going to be a podcast coming out pretty soon, so you guys want to stay tuned. RexReviews.org podcast. Check it out. You go on there, we'll send you the actual. You ain't going to see it on the YouTube until like 2 months after we record them, but you'll see them right away on the podcast. We get into some of those questions. But so if you're, like going to be operating in conjunction with some of them dudes, then 300 is logistically superior. 7mm bullets, though, if you're just based on raw external ballistics, is going to be hard to beat. Generally speaking, you can get into a lighter bullet with a little bit more velocity with a higher ballistic coefficient just because of the proportionality of the rounds and the typical projectile being flung from them. So I like to run a 7mm Magnum. They burn out throats a little bit faster, but there's the recoil sharper. It's less of a push. They're pretty synonymous for all practical applications. 7mm will get you a little bit farther, maybe in terms of max supersonic range.
So I just have to say that this troop throwback guy just cracks me up.
Boxers or briefs?
His questions.
I'm running commando.
And Lou, I know, where is Lou? I'm wondering the same thing.
No, I've been sitting here for like hours and hours.
I've been texting him all day. I don't know where he's at.
Lou's a working man. He's got a lot of pans on the fire there, so we'll give him some forgiveness.
Is your father Ted Nugent?
We addressed that conspiracy theory on the podcast. That one didn't come out yet, did it?
I think
no,
we're gonna
be uploading that this week. Actually, I go into detail, and you guys might be shocked on that. So you'll have to just wait and see.
Pretty fabulous.
Yeah, the Rex related to Ted Nugent conspiracy.
There was one earlier. What's your favorite animal?
My favorite animal?
Yeah.
Homo sapien, obviously, because I'm one of them.
What? Mine's probably like
a favorite foreign animal.
My favorite animal is definitely a whale.
The flying blubber whale?
The big blue whale. It's pretty awesome.
I like whales. I got to see a fin whale a couple years ago off the coast of Dana Point in California. Yeah. They're almost as big as a blue whale. They're huge.
I haven't seen those. I've seen an orca, though, when I was in Oregon. I got to see a sweet orca, so that was cool.
I got this cool buddy in Dana Point, California. He does like this charity deal for messed up kids or like just all kinds of people that have problems, and he takes them out on the boat for these whale watching deals and like cheers them up a bit. Well, because life sucks. I don't know if anyone noticed that ever, but when you're out on a boat listening to some awesome, what's that fat Hawaiian guy who does the ukulele so awesome? Is Israel something? Yeah, he'll play that stuff out on his boat, and the dolphins attack the boat. They're so excited. You just turn off the engines out there, and you're floating on the ocean on this little raft. I don't know what these Navy guys call these things. What the SEALs use? They're like half inflatable, half normal boats. I don't know about that stuff. Yeah, one of you guys know what these boats are. These boats that these guys use, and yeah, these dolphins, like 300 of these, the two-colored Pacific, whatever they call them, dolphins. They're like trying to climb into the boat, and you can pet them. You like they're just like flipper. It's crazy.
That is so cool.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, we got to look at whales, and I like that stuff.
What is in the? Oh, that's Donald.
That's the turtle. That's Donald the turtle. You know, I picked him up off the highway. I saved his life, so now I own his life. I picked him up the day that the Donald came down the escalator. That scenic scene with Melania Trump. Okay, so then I named the turtle Donald. Yeah. True story. I like turtles, man. They're cool. Just like the Jesus turtle. Like if I put my finger near that thing, he will swim on top of the water like those Jesus lizards. His flippers are going so fast. He's crazy.
Can't open the answer. Can you adjust your hat if you
Adjust my hat? I have brain problems. Okay, I'll adjust it. Oh, man, look at that hairdo. That's like some Ozzy 1986 going on. Ultimate Sin album.
Would you ever consider starting a cult?
A cult? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Every day.
Spaceship cults? I'd be good at that. You know, from some of the evaluations we used to do on these things back in the day for different jobs or whatever, like, I'd make a great dictator or a cult leader. Pretty sure I would if I wanted to. Problem is, that's not very nice. That's a bad thing to do. So,
why did you cut your hair?
Oh yeah, I lost it. You know, here's the deal. So like I had chemo a couple years ago, and I had my rock and roll hair forever, right? I had like 5 years of hair growing, and it started falling out. So I cut it down because it was like, you know, when you like roll over in the pillow and you're eating like a big freaking hay bale of hair, nasty. So I cut it short, and then it still fell out. So then I just shaved it off. And so, you know, like, and then after the chemo, they put me on these steroids, and I got fatter. And I realized that if I just get fat and have long hair, then I just look like some kind of weirdo. So it's like, yeah, it's just not the same effect. So I just kept her civilized now. Truth.
Won't you be my neighbor? We're all neighbors.
Mr. Rogers, yeah. I love that guy.
He's a great guy.
I used to watch that when I was little.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
What type of engineer are you? Mechanical, electrical, etc.
Well, that's top secret information. I'm sorry, guys.
Top secret. Apricot seeds cure cancer.
I ate them for 3 years, and then I got cancer. True story. I was eating vitamin B17. The synthetic version is called amygdalin, I believe. Yep, and I was eating the apricot seeds, and I wasn't overdosing. I was doing a nice medium road approach. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Maybe it triggered it. You know, there's a lot of different variables on that stuff, and I often wonder that sometimes the body has natural healing mechanisms where, dude, like my toxicity in life is unbelievable. The reason I got cancer, I don't know. I can name 30 of them. I mean, just the level of like inhaling like lead vapor and like rocket fuel and like gunpowder and like mercury fulminate and like getting anthrax vaccines and just all this crap, you know, in life that's cumulative, and then smoking 900,000 cigarettes with my family before I was 18, you know, because of the secondhand, and then just like eating and drinking Coca-Cola. And I mean, it's like, you do that a long enough time, it's going to happen. And what was the story? What were they asked? Oh, B17. There's certain things that if you go through these health cleanses and stuff or radically change your diet, your body forgets what it's doing, and it like gets confused, I think. And those toxins are naturally locked up in like fat cells, and they're sequestered in little areas. There's a lot of mechanisms if you read a biology textbook. And sometimes going through a cleanse, if you don't do the right chelation, so if you're doing a cleanse, you got to like study what you're doing and do it full bore, or it'll kill you, because you're just going to loosen up all the stuff in your body. And it's like you did 30 years of toxicity or 35 years of toxicity all in one giant pile, and you're not like getting rid of it. That's bad. That's what I did probably, because I did a cleanse, but I don't know if I did it good enough. You know what I mean?
What's the amp over there? Somebody saw it. I'm surprised. Look at that. You got good eyes.
Can you see it right there? Oh,
yeah,
wait, where's the thing?
Right.
Oh, it's over here. So that right there is my Behringer head. That's a V-Tone 200-watt head. And that's the bottom there. I invented that. I made it out of plywood and expanded metal. I put two 15-inch Celestion Big Ben speakers in there, and I run my guitar through it, and it sounds like a Mesa Boogie Road King 2 for like way cheaper. And I've overbuilt the box on it too. It's like heavy duty plywood, and then I rhino lined it, and it's solid. It's got good tone. All fired up for you guys sometime.
Have you always been religious, Sam?
Religious? Well, I grew up religious, I suppose. So yeah, I mean, I grew up religious, and then I like to draw a huge distinction between religion and faith, and just the truth too, guys. Because right now I am not currently what you would define as religious. I am religiously about pursuing the truth as best as I can. But I think that even Jesus himself battled the folly of religion plenty, and they killed him for it. If you read that book about that guy, he's pretty hardcore, and he battled the religious guys of his day until they conspired to kill his butt, and they nailed him to a cross for it. So am I religious? That's a complicated question with a 4-hour answer, but that's the quick version. Yeah, but not really. I love God religiously, but I don't like religion at all. I don't like religion. I think it gets in the way of God a lot of times. My opinion, you guys take your own walk and study that out.
What are your thoughts on copper fouling, eliminating powder, and its effect on copper equilibrium? Go.
Okay, so what copper fouling?
Copper fouling and its effects, and
Elim-
eliminating powder and its effect on copper equilibrium.
Is he asking about a certain item here? What are your thoughts on copper fouling, eliminating powder? Is there eliminating powder brand that's out or something? Is that what he's asking?
Mike, what is your question? Rephrase.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're telling me that there's some kind of new powder out or something. The way that was worded exactly, I'm kind of an OCD on the wording of questions. I maybe read it too much into them. Is he still there?
I don't know. A lot of people want to see a Sniper 102.
201 coming out soon. Actually, I want to do some of that stuff. I got some guys that can teach you a lot on Fieldcraft, and
we've got some cool stuff coming up.
Yeah. Well, a short story. I mean, if you guys want the details on powder fouling and copper fouling, those are important things to establish in your rifle to where there's an equilibrium point, just to get a long story to be short. A lot of times a rifle that is fully fouled up, seasoned, or dirtied will settle into a group. And a lot of guns, when you over clean them, you're constantly chasing your zero, constantly trying to get a group. And there's two different schools of thought, but I go through that in extraordinary detail in my Sniper 101 series. And if there's some kind of new item out there, some kind of powder you put in there, I don't know what that is. Sorry. If that's what he's asking, I don't know.
Yeah, they say there's some powder that reduces copper fouling, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
How do you afford some awesome shooting platforms aside from a second mortgage?
That's a good question. So, like, since I was a kid, my old man taught me a long time ago. He says, don't blow your coin on stupid things. Work hard and buy your toys while you're young before you have a lot of expensive. So that's what I did. When I was a young guy, even like 16, I started piling up my money for this. And I'd save it. And I fixed my own car, which I thought was awesome. A Datsun 280Z. And the thing was beat to hell, you know. But that you spend a lot of money on a lot. I mean, a lot of other kids spent their money on stereos. One stereo back then would have bought you a Schmidt-Bender scope, right? CDs. Everyone else was buying rap CDs and all this stuff, and like Nintendos and all this stuff, and paying for cable TV. And then after a certain point, like when I became a younger adult, like people were buying cable service and all this kind of business. And if you just are frugal, is that the right word? With your coin and you don't blow it, you have a lot more money than you might think you did. And I, for a long time, drove old POS vehicles that I made reliable because I took it to the mechanic enough. Or I have the blessing of some friends who are very mechanically inclined, and they would lead me into the green fields of having my car not break down. So yeah, just save your money and don't blow your coin on stupid things, and you can come up with firearms are a great investment. Honestly, a lot of people blow a lot of coin, even like, you know how expensive like a motorcycle is? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying like the depreciation is incredible. You spend 10 grand on a bike and 3 years later, it ain't even worth a quarter of that sometimes, right? If you use it. Firearms are not that way. They always hold their value, even when you beat the crap out of them. That's probably your best investment in terms of like, you know, next to like silver or gold, but then you can use it too, see? So firearms is a great investment, guys. Spend wisely.
Any update on the PA Platinum 630 with the Deca reticle?
Yeah, I need, you know, we've had like snow around here. I don't know if you guys seen the winter extreme cold weather training video, but like, I'm not into it as much as I once was. So I'm waiting for it to be a little nicer. And now that it's warming up, I do plan on getting out there and getting that thing warmed up. I did get the rifle zeroed. It tracks like 100% so far. It went exactly where I put it. And I'll tell you, from the quality of construction, from taking the turrets apart and messing with this thing, it's like Night Force quality. And it's apparent. Night Force employs a lot of quality control measures that you can't see in the quality. You can't see with your eyes. It's something that happens in the factory when they're putting all the parts together. They fit them perfectly. They stack their lenses and they make sure that they're matched glass and things like this. So that's something too. That Night Force employs that I can't say that the Platinum series of Prime Arms has. Maybe they do, I don't know. But I can tell you that just by looking at it, it's a really nice optic. Like, it's like biting at the ankles of tier 1 quality, and I won't know where it plots out in that range until I get a lot more trigger time on it. Those bigger, more expensive optics, I like to do comprehensive reviews on because there's a big investment. I like to get more information before I come up with an opinion.
What are your hobbies? I got this question as well.
Believe it or not, it's not really shooting. I like watching music videos, playing the guitar, driving cars like crazy people. I didn't drive it. Yeah, I drove normal, didn't I?
Yeah, pretty.
We went to go
safe.
get some food, waiting for Lou. Yeah, I don't know. I like that kind of stuff. I'm actually an artist. You know, I like drawing and coloring, and I'd love to paint. You know, but I like just noodling around the guitar. Actually, my hobby is probably reading history. I like philosophy type stuff. I think is very interesting. Just I suppose the podcast is kind of my hobby too. That's an endeavor in abstract art if I ever saw one.
Yeah.
The podcast gets wild. So like that's my latest hobby. I actually think that's fun. Visiting, that's my hobby right there, as you can tell, right? Okay.
Talking, yeah.
Yeah, talking a lot apparently.
My hobbies are I write a lot. I've actually written a couple books. I write poetry. I write all sorts of stuff. Professionally, not professionally. I love to build websites. Surprise.
She does a good job. Yep.
Before I started over with Rex, that was something I've always enjoyed. Design, stuff like that, fashion, I'm really into. Lots of different things. What's your opinion on Hitler?
Hitler? Well, he lost. I suppose the winner writes the history books. I don't know. I never met the guy. I heard he was kind of an asshole. I don't know. Third Reich probably wasn't all that good of an idea. I don't know. What's your opinion on it? That's a trap question.
I wasn't a big fan of his mustache, you know?
Well, it was a cool mustache back in the day, and then once he had it, no one ever wore it again.
No, it
except
was
Nazis.
A trend, though. It was very
Charlie
trendy
Chaplin
to
mustache.
have
Yeah, it was a very handsome mustache back in the day, and then Hitler had to go and mess it up by killing everybody. Guy went a little cuckoo. You know, he had some interesting things he was getting, like that Indiana Jones stuff. That's kind of half true. Like some of the stuff he was getting into, that guy was far out there, man.
What's your favorite card game?
Favorite card game? You know, the only card game I know how to play is poker. I don't know. Me and the old man and my brother would play poker.
What kind of poker?
Well, just like 5-card stud or whatever. You know, just generic poker or hold
like
3 or
Texas Hold'em.
You know, I didn't learn that one till later. But yeah, I mean, we used to play I don't like. My wife will have me play these card games with her and her friends or sisters or something. And the only fun for me in a card game, honestly, and you guys might not like this, but I don't see that it's like, we don't play for money, but I play to cheat without getting caught as much as possible. Like as much cheating on the cards as humanly possible, like ridiculous level, so that they can kick me out of the game and I can go do something else. I hate playing cards. Like, I don't know. Some people would get relaxed. I don't like staring at a piece of cardboard for hours on end, I guess. Axis and Allies is fun. That's a fun board game. Risk, that's fun. But
I always liked playing Garbage when I was a kid.
Right.
That was a good game. Primary arms, 4x14 reticle, mil dot versus others. All the others seem so busy.
Yep, I agree. Yep. Actually, yeah, well, that's, never mind. Yep. Stay tuned with Primary Arms, guys. They got they always got new stuff coming out. Pretty good stuff. On the reticle design is incredible.
Oh, do you have a way for them to fund the
Strip
channel?
poker, huh?
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Yeah.
Do you have a way for them to fund the channel?
Yeah, there's a donate button on the channel, and I never really advertise that. I don't know, but yeah, if you guys want to support, actually, we can use the support now that we're getting off the ground a little more. There's a little donate button on the channel. You can go on there. It's a PayPal account. Yep.
Or if you watch the ads that pop up on the video, if you watch them all the way through.
And the best way to support the channel, guys, because this deal is like, honestly, it's fun and everything, but don't think this pendulum right now is swinging in the good direction because we won, like our side won on the election. Don't think that deal's going to last forever, okay? The pendulum will swing back, and you got one guy out of hundreds in the government that's like maybe on board with what you're talking about. The rest of them are diametrically opposed to a lot of stuff. The pendulum will swing back. This is the calm before the storm, so to say. Now is the time to invest in whatever kind of, like right now, ARs are cheap. Every house should have one. You got to do your duty, guys. And I ain't saying be radical. I'm just saying just be a good citizen. But now's the time to spend the ammo on, or spend the money on ammo and get trained up and shoot a bunch and all this. And what was the question? I'm ranting. Oh, the podcast.
And the podcast.
Learn to shoot and share this with other people. Take this information. This is a huge deterrent, guys. I'm telling you, for like bad people to do bad things, is if the population is adequately equipped to take care of itself, then there's less need for a lot of these problems to arise. And so spread the links as much as you can in the videos, and just the gun culture needs to be amped up a bit, and also just the culture of America like it used to be back in the old days, like good people. We need to get back to our roots, guys. Like, and I don't want to preach too much here, but like honestly, like the morality sucks lately, and we're headed down the tubes. We're headed for the same direction Rome was going. Okay, so I would strongly encourage people to find God again and find what it means to love the country again in a real way and defend her. So don't get too comfortable there. Spread the videos is what I'm trying to say on that deal. Okay, that's my preaching.
U.S. Optics B Series question.
I don't even know what that means. Smoking Man. Oh, that guy's. I like that guy. Look at his picture.
He's Smoking Man.
He like reminds me of one of my uncles. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I don't know anything about the B Series, man. I'm sorry. Maybe you know about it.
Does Casey have a boyfriend? She does. She does, guys. How long before the collapse?
Yeah, that's impossible. No man knows the day or the hour, I think, is the answer for that one. Hopefully not like in 5 minutes. We got the podcast recorded first because the power will be gone. What do we got there? The government should give out shotguns.
I
like these guys. This is hilarious.
Should we read that?
No.
Okay.
260 or 6.5? Oh, that was a good question. They're both good cartridges. You know, a little while ago, I would have said 260 just due to logistical superiority. You can find 308 brass, knock it down pretty easily. And 260 might have been more prolific at one time. But 6.5 Creedmoor is now like a full mainstream round. It's getting into the mainstream. A lot of the mainstream companies are building factory rifles. I anticipate the 6.5 Creedmoor will actually be around for a while. I think that's finally made its step into the mainstream. So I don't know if that's even more prolific than 260s yet, but you know, and they're both practically in the same ballpark.
How do I get my wife into long-range marksmanship?
Enjoy it yourself. If she sees you having fun, she's going to want to know what you're doing. Maybe have her come out and read a book or while you're shooting and just enjoy the outdoors, because it gets, you know, being outside is the reason my wife likes to come when shooting originally. She just likes to be outside all the time, and I'd be shooting everything, you know, possible. I think that's a good excuse to get them out there, and then eventually they'll be curious. It might take a couple of years to get them behind the weapon, but.
Southern Muscle. If taxpayer dollars are going to fund things like birth control, I'd say the government should subsidize my need for bullets.
You know, a lot of countries actually do that. That's their national defense. Went over to Switzerland a couple years ago. You can see the review I did talking with some of the Swiss dudes at Brunig Indoor Shooting Range, and going through the current laws in Switzerland on gun ownership. That's some good reviews there, guys. Check out my old stuff too. There's lots of really interesting information.
Tikka guns. What are those?
What?
Tikka rifles.
Tikka, right? Oh, Tikka? Where are you reading this?
There we go.
Tikka. No, I think they're good. T3s are good. The T3 varmints are a real good setup. I know a guy that would nip at the heels of the winners of these big sniper matches with his Tikka T3 and a Hawk scope, you know, like a $250 Hawk. And he was keeping up with guys at $10,000 rifles. So it's really, most of this rifle selection, in, you know, to a degree, optic selection can be a little more fussy because it's hard to find a good optic that works for that application. But most of your rifles are going to win you matches if you know how to operate it and tune it. So you can tune any rifle. It's like a guitar. You could hand a really piece of crap guitar to a good guitar player, and they'll make it sound pretty good. He'll definitely beat guys with more expensive guitars that don't know how to play, right? So, I mean, my $500 Ruger M77 shoots as good as my $6,000 Surgeon, okay? That's the truth. It shoots actually a little better some days.
Longest shot you ever made, first round hit?
1,800 meters. Beyond that is kind of like you got to shoot a lot. I mean, 1,800 is really far though, too, guys. Don't expect that to happen every day. Honestly, anything over 1,000 is like, if you can hit it on the first round hit over 1,000, you're like really good. If you ain't got any kind of wind going on, wind is what's going to kill you. I used to have that video. I don't know what happened to it. I think it was 1.2 miles, I think is what the name of the video was or something. I don't see it on there anymore.
Will you review a Barrett optical ranging system?
Well, sure. Send me one. I'll review it. I got an opinion on those, but I ain't sending you my opinion until you send me the bores. Yeah, that's the little robotic deal that you can put by your turrets on your Barrett. That's kind of a neat deal. Some of you guys might know what that is.
It just cracks me up. Meters. Are you Canadian?
Canadian?
Oh, this
no.
Canuck.
Yeah, a lot of engineers and the military guys, they like the meters. You know, it's divides into other units pretty good. So that's I am very patriotic, but when it comes to measuring stuff and actually needing to do it efficiently, meters is superior in my opinion. But I know the other method too. I grew up with it.
Recommend me a laser rangefinder.
The Vectronics Terrapin. That's like the only one to go. Or the only way to go there. It's expensive. They're like $1,900. I think they're discontinued now. But you put that laser on something, you click on it, and it'll give you a range every time. Other rangefinders will not do that. Swarovski, Leica, Leupold, I don't care what you say. Oh man, you'll see what I'm saying when you wrestle through a bunch of different models. But the Terrapin is what most of your pros will use, your professional operators, unless they got some kind of target designator, you know, one of them big $20,000, $30,000 units.
Grendel info for long range?
Yeah, watch my AR-15 cartridge video. We talk about this, the Grendel cartridge a little bit on there. That's a good video for that.
Single coilless?
Single coils or humbuckers? I like a mix of pickups. She's talking guitars.
Oh,
the pickup's the little deal on your guitar that picks up the. I explained it a little bit in my Johnson review when I'm eating ice cream. How the strings vibrate, Faraday's law. You know, an electromotive force is induced in a circuit when there's a changing magnetic flux. So your pickups are what do that. Single coils just one row. Humbuckers is two. It gives you different tonalities. I like a mix of them because I use that switch and I flip her back and forth to make it sound either nice and mellow or piercing and awesome. I play different kinds of music, so I use both.
My theory is that Rex is a super secret airborne SEAL Ranger.
We'll go with that.
That's a good one, yeah. Rex, can you tell these
the guy who can't pick a dandelion out of his yard without passing out? That's hilarious. That's me.
So, Rex, can you tell these flat Earth tards that Coriolis effect is real?
I don't know how. Yeah, well, yeah, Coriolis is an effect. You can look it up in a meteorology textbook. It has to do with the rotation of the Earth, and you have stuff above the surface of the Earth that is not attached to it. Is going to follow Newton's laws. So an object in motion that's not attached to anything with no external forces being applied on it is going to go in a straight direction or whatever direction it's going until it encounters an external force. Now when the Earth is rotating underneath an object, what you got going on is a differential speed of rotation at the equator than you do at the higher latitudes because the circle's small, right? Your rotational velocity is the same, so it's rotating at the same speed rotation-wise, 1 revolution per 24 hours, right? But your actual speed at the equator is going to be, you know, in miles per hour is going to be less than it is at like 45 degrees or 90 degrees up at the pole, right? So when you shoot a bullet across a variable, you know, a sphere that's spinning, it's going to be an apparent force. It's not a true force acting on the bullet. It's just that relative to the ground, your bullet flies in a straight line while your ground is spinning differentially at different rates. So if you're shooting north, you're spinning faster than the target is spinning. The target's spinning a little bit slower as it's making its way around the axis. You know, it's a very tiny effect. You're not going to see it on a small arms, really. Just to get the long story short, if you're shooting a rifle from your shoulder, you're not going to be seeing Coriolis effect. Unless you're shooting at like 2,000 meters plus, you're going to notice this much drift. And at that range, a 1 mile an hour wind is going to throw you up by like a house or whatever. Okay, so Coriolis effect is something that naval gunnery, rocket artillery, our field artillery. They have Coriolis drift tables. If you don't believe that it exists, look up the U.S. Army Field Manual FM 6-40. They'll give you the Coriolis drift tables of correction for firemen.
Is Generation 1 night vision combat effective or a waste of time?
It used to be combat effective. It's a heck of a lot better than not seeing anything. You know, back in the day, like when my old man was in the service, that was state-of-the-art technology. I mean, that was like magic. You can see in the dark, kind of. You know, if you got IR illumination, it's pretty effective. You know, you're not going to be shooting at like hundreds of yards very effectively, but you know, in the pitch black dark stuff that's closer, you know, I mean, it's the same effect as shooting far away. If you're at a safe distance, if they can't see you at all and you can see them, then that's all you really need, right? So yeah, I mean, you can get whatever you can afford. There's some good outfits. I was just talking to some experts in that industry, and actually I think that I'm researching some Armacite stuff, and I do believe that they use pretty good cores from what I'm hearing. They do some ceramic cores instead of the glass. And so they're heavy duty. They're built on good equipment, so they're built with heavy dutiness in mind. Look up Armacite. They got some. I got a monocular, the Spark, SPARK, by Armacite monocular that I'm going to run in with these carbine rifles. I'm going to put a laser designator on there. I'm also going to run them on aim points and get some reviews videotape for you guys to show you how that works with night vision. Night vision's a little tricky. But yeah, stay tuned for full bore night vision reviews. If I can establish a better connection with Armacite or some of these other outfits that actually produce good thermal and good night vision, I would love to get into some more reviews for you guys. There's a lot of reviews out there, but they only show you like the footage of the actual scope. You know what I mean? They don't show you how to adjust it. They don't show you. They don't describe the quality of the mechanisms and the mounting system and repeatability. That's what I intend to review when I get into my night vision reviews. However, that stuff's expensive, so I'm going to have to establish contact with some of these outfits to see if I can borrow some of their stuff to produce some decent quality comprehensive reviews.
JP Recoil Eliminator Brake, tank brake.
The JP Recoil Eliminator brake. I'm trying to remember. You guys are gonna, like I said before, I'm kind of a dinosaur when it comes to this equipment. JP. Man, that sounds super familiar. Like I've used them. I don't remember offhand. I'm on the spot, guys. I don't got no notes or teleprompters or nothing. Okay.
Theodolite recommendation for beginners.
Theodolite, that's that surveying equipment used for ranging stuff. If you're going to do it the old mechanical way, you can do the Leica. Is a good way to go. You want to find there's a good book out there where you guys can read all about that kind of equipment selection. It's called Hard Target Interdiction: The Complete 50 Caliber Sniper Force by Dean Michaelis. Incredible book on hard target interdiction stuff, and he goes through theodolite options on there. Pretty interesting read, and he'll get you squared away on that business. But you can find Zeiss, like usually military theodolites that are antiques. You can find them on eBay. I've looked around for a bunch of them for $500-600 because people don't know what they are, even though they originally cost, you know, as much as a car to build. Them things, you know, thousands and thousands of bucks. You can buy them usually on eBay for cheap, but you want to study what you're looking at because you need a certain amount of precision and the right features. And that replaces your spotting scope then too. A lot of them have a 30 power magnifier.
So, what do you think, Rex? We've been doing this for a little bit. Should we break their hearts or should we keep going?
We'll answer 3 more questions, guys, and then we got
more.
to take a break because I need to drink some water or something.
And I don't know what happened to Lou. We might
Were
have
you
to go.
drinking the Red Bull? Dear Lord.
Yes.
Hey, you guys want to see me eat this live? Can you believe this?
Oh, don't eat that.
I found that. I don't know where that came from. Crazy kids.
Okay. Favorite rock band?
Favorite rock band? Oh, man. Steppenwolf at a certain point. That's probably my favorite. I mean, I got so many of them. I grew up on Roy Orbison. Roy Orbison's like my man, okay? Then I kind of morphed into Steppenwolf and BTO, Three Dog Night, the Guess Who, you know, with Burt Cummins. Then I kind of got into the Beatles for a while. The Beatles are like, they're good musicians. That British rock, for some reason, vibrates my brain in positive ways. Like I'm a quarter British, so it's one of them deals that just like, I don't know, it jets straight into my brain. And so I dig it. So I really like Ozzy Osbourne too, in terms of like songwriting, guitar playing. I don't like his lyrics so much. He's kind of a cuckoo farm, that guy. But incredible songwriter. I don't know. Megadeth. I like them guys too. That's newer stuff. This is about as new as I get. I like Muse as far as current stuff, or with some of these other bands. I don't know. I'm pretty eclectic, guys. If it's a good song, I don't care who wrote it. I don't know half that stuff. Okay, that was the first question. Number 2.
Do you know where a civilian might be able to get a hold of the FM 2310 Sniper Field Manual?
Oh yeah, you can probably just go on the old eBay and buy one for probably $5 or $2, or go to a Barnes & Noble. I'm sure they've reprinted those. The FM 23-10 is the Sniper Field Manual for the U.S. Army. It's a good read. It's not going to teach you a lot. I mean, it's very good for beginners because they're teaching like grunts how to shoot a long-range rifle from square one. You know what I mean? And so they cover a lot of the real basic stuff. If you're already into long-range shooting, you're not going to learn a lot of long-range shooting stuff out of that manual. And just be advised, some of the ballistic concepts in that, sorry, I'm playing with stuff here. Some of the ballistic concepts being communicated in that manual are incorrect. And we go over some of those details in the Sniper 101 series. But in terms of fieldcraft and employment, it's an excellent read.
Hearing Protection Act, will it pass in your opinion?
Man, I'd like to think it would. For those of you who don't know, the Hearing Protection Act is they're going to try to legalize suppressors. It's already been kind of written up. All right, here's the deal. We got to get loud with our representatives. Pretty much the guys in my area know my name by heart because I harass the heck out of these guys. I call them live on the radio a lot with pseudo names. And I mean, you got to get loud. So it's really up to us if it passes. You got to get them to have the kahunas to push it, to get it in there. So I think that's really in our ballpark. That's up to us. It's not really even up to them because they'll do it if we tell them to do it. If we give them, a lot of these guys would love to vote for a lot of this stuff, but they're scared. They're like little puppy dogs that are scared someone's going to yell at them. So what we need to do is we need to get out there and give them a little bit of courage, and not in a harassing way, but find the ones who do want to do it and say, hey, when's that Hearing Protection Act coming out? I want to see it like this year. I want to see it like, and always shoot for a quicker time frame than what you think they can do it. Because I mean, I would like to see it done in this first deal. So in this first 4 years, hopefully, because if it don't happen under the Donald, it ain't happening ever. But I don't know if that one would pass. There's a lot of communists out there that we let in there, so in the cultures wouldn't understand. Oh, it's gonna be a mobster shootout with all them silencers. If you go to like Europe or Scandinavia and you're not running a suppressor on your weapon, you're like a bad person. It's like driving around with the straight pipes on your pickup. You're like, who's this jerk driving around without pipe or with straight pipes on? Put a silencer on that thing, man. And so same is true for the firearms industry. Look, suppressors are very, very handy, and push it with these turkeys, and they'll do it, I'm sure. Guys, that was awesome.
That was all three
We're
of them.
expended. That was a battle test. How long have we been on here?
Almost an hour waiting
Holy
on that
Moses.
Lou.
Yeah, well, this was fun, guys. Go on that www.rexreviews.org.
Yes.
For the podcast is $0. Okay. If you sign up for the updates on there, there's a little thing where you type in, or you can send us questions. You can just email us a question on there. It gives our email address. You can contact us. But those shows are like a lot of fun. It's like way too much fun.
And if you want to talk to us more and you want to like get in touch with us, go on the forums. We have a whole community on the forums, and we actually get on those and answer some of those questions and pose questions. So
Rex Reviews is slowly transitioning over to the rexreviews.org podcast, because that is a deal that we own. And when they shut this deal down, which if you haven't been noticing, they're killing social media outlets that have anything to do with this kind of culture. So this YouTube business ain't going to fly very good. I could tell you stories, and I talk about it on the podcast a little bit, but they're trying to shut us all down, and that ain't hyperbole. So if you guys want to get over to the Rex Reviews podcast website, we'll at least have a line of communications for when we just need to start a Mad Max biker gang one day and take care of business, right? Yeah, watch, they're all writing that down in their notes. They got more check marks behind my name someplace.
Here we go.
But yeah, no, seriously though, that was all just hyperbole. We're just having fun. But sign up for the podcast, and you can get them all for free on there. Pretty awesome. You guys will dig it.
For the newsletter, we'll give you updates. We have a new podcast coming up very soon. We'll get that uploaded. And we have some really exciting stuff coming up that we will be announcing, so stay tuned.
Yep. If you guys want to learn the long range deal, I'll help you out. We'll get you situated, okay? Yeah, it'll be cool. Rock and roll, guys. All right, where's the off button on this sucker?
Bye, guys. You have to say bye.
Oh, yeah. Adios.